This orphan boy was trained by the strongest mage, but he pretends to be weak and joins a team to rizz up baddies. Lloyd's story starts with tragedy. When he was young, the Demon King attacked and wiped out his town. Lloyd survived, and a top-tier mage named Merlin found him afterward. She had lost someone important in that same war, so she took Lloyd in and raised him as her student. Merlin's way of teaching was harsh from day one. She showed him a flame spell and told him that if he could not make fire by sunset, he would go hungry. Lloyd struggled for hours, but when he finally made a small flame, he proudly showed her. Merlin did not celebrate. She crushed his confidence, showed him a much stronger version, and made it clear he was still far from good enough. That became normal for him. No matter what spell Lloyd learned, Merlin always acted like it was weak. He copied water magic easily, but she answered by overwhelming him with a stronger spell. He even made an ice statue of her once, and she turned it into another lesson by controlling it, trapping him, and telling him he still lacked talent. Lloyd believed her every time and kept trying harder. Even so, Merlin was not cold all the time. Once, when she was suffering badly from a hangover, Lloyd healed her with magic. She hugged him and thanked him with real warmth. But right after that, she dragged him back outside to continue training. That was how she treated him, strict almost all the time, caring only in quick hidden moments. One night, Lloyd walked in on Merlin studying an old magic book while looking shaken. When she dropped it, he picked it up for her. The instant his hand touched it, the knowledge inside flowed straight into his mind, and he blacked out. Merlin panicked because that should not have been possible. Lloyd had absorbed ancient magic in one touch, proving he had the qualities of someone special. That terrified her because it reminded her of the past. While Lloyd slept, she sealed that forbidden knowledge inside him with a spell placed on his forehead. She did it to keep him from chasing dangerous power. After that, she pushed him towards support magic instead, guiding him to become a white mage, whose job was to help others rather than stand on the front lines. She trained him in healing and support spells, showing him how to restore life and help things grow. But whenever ancient magic came up, she dismissed it and said there was no reason to study something that had disappeared long ago. Lloyd accepted what she said and kept learning whatever she chose to teach him. As the years passed, Merlin's lessons stayed extreme. One day, she took him deep into a forest packed with monsters, left him there with one knife, and ordered him to find his own way home in a week. Lloyd was terrified. He barely escaped a beast attack and quickly realized his current magic was not meant for fighting. So, instead of battling monsters, he focused on surviving. He used his senses to figure out which way home was. Ripened fruit, so he would have food, and spent nights creating new spells to help him move faster and stay alive. He kept going alone through one dangerous situation after another. At one point, a giant spider nearly caught him, but a speed spell he had developed let him escape. By the time he finally made it home, he collapsed from exhaustion at the door. Later, Lloyd grew into a teenager and started becoming curious about life outside Merlin's home. That curiosity grew stronger after he found a magazine about a nearby city. Merlin had also changed by then. She no longer spent all her time forcing him through basic drills. Instead, she pulled him into endless magical experiments, waking him at random times and making him stay up night after night helping with new ideas. Eventually, Lloyd had enough and quietly left home to see the world for himself. When Merlin found his room empty the next morning, she saw the magazine and realized he had gone to the city. Meanwhile, Lloyd arrived there with very little money and no real plan. After spending what he had on food, he wondered how he would survive. Then he came across a notice looking for party members and decided to become an adventurer. His first job with a new party was a battle against a Cyclops. Lloyd was amazed watching people take on such a powerful monster. During the fight, he cast support magic on the whole team, strengthening them instantly, but nobody noticed. The archer blinded the monster, the tank blocked its blow, the mage locked it down, and Alan, the leader, landed the final hit. Alan got all the praise, while Lloyd got almost nothing. Because he was only seen as a low-ranked white mage, Lloyd received barely any pay and accepted it without complaint. He had already been made to think he was not worth much. Alan did not respect him either. He believed white mages were basically useless and only kept one around because the rules required it. To him, Lloyd was replaceable. Still, one party member, Rinna, felt there was something strange about Lloyd. She could tell he was not as ordinary as he seemed. At the same time, Merlin was quietly receiving updates about him from a spy she had placed nearby. She claimed she was only worried about Lloyd becoming overconfident, but the truth was more personal. Her fear came from an older wound. Long ago, she had fought the demon lord beside a hero named Sybil. When defeat became certain, the demon lord destroyed himself and took a whole city with him. Sybil used ancient magic to bring the dead back, but the spell cost him his own life. Merlin never recovered from losing him. That was why Lloyd's hidden gift scared her so much. She did not want him ending up the same way. Back in the city, Alan's fame kept growing because Lloyd's support magic quietly made every mission easier. Almost nobody realized it. Then the party was asked to deal with golems, killing soldiers near a patrol route. Alan took the job confidently, expecting a simple fight. At the scene, Lloyd used his search magic and discovered the real danger was hidden behind a waterfall. Inside, the team destroyed golems, but more kept appearing. Lloyd quickly figured out that a hidden summoner was controlling everything with a magic stone. He boosted the archer and told her where to aim. Her shot struck the summoner. Then Lloyd had the enemy's staff brought to him and sealed it, stopping the source of the problem. Alan hated that Lloyd had taken charge. Even after Lloyd warned him that the remaining golem had become unstable, Alan rushed in anyway and nearly got crushed. Lloyd had to race in with a special spell and save him. After the enemy finally shut down, Alan still acted like the victory was his alone. When the mission ended, Alan threw Lloyd out of the party, calling him deadweight who only stayed in the back. Lloyd did not argue. After being looked down on for so long, he accepted it and left. He tried to find another group, but nobody was hiring, and he started feeling hopeless. Then luck finally turned. A pink-haired girl came to the guild looking for a white mage immediately. The staff said it would be hard to find one who met her standards, but with no other choice, they pointed to Lloyd. The moment she learned he was free, she took him with her. Her name was Yui, and she belonged to an S-rank party. Not long before that, her group had beaten a gang of bandits and cornered their leader. Just when the fight seemed over, the boss summoned a massive stone golem as a last move. Magic barely worked on it, and weak attacks did nothing. Yui, the strongest attacker in her team, charged in herself. She hit the monster with full force, but only managed to leave a small mark before having to dodge its counterattack. She called for a strength boost from her party's white mage, Crumb. Crumb was distracted for a moment, clearly weighed down by something, but she still managed to cast the spell in time. With that extra power, Yui destroyed the golem in one more strike. After the battle, Crumb apologized because her delay could have gotten Yui hurt. Yui understood that Crumb was dealing with serious problems at home, so she did not blame her. Then Crumb revealed the truth. She was stepping away from the party because her younger sister was sick, and she needed to go take care of her. Back in present, Yui excitedly drags Lloyd straight to her team's base. The others are stunned because they never expected her to actually come back with a new white mage. She quickly starts introducing him, then realizes she does not even know his name yet. After that, she presents the rest of the group: Daggaz the defender, Cross the archer, Silica the mage, and herself as both swordswoman and leader. Lloyd is confused and asks when he ever agreed to join. That catches Yui off guard, because she was so focused on bringing him back that she forgot to ask the most important thing. Daggaz and Silica apologize for how sudden all of this is, but then they tell Yui that finding a healer is not enough. In their eyes, no random newcomer can simply take Clum's place, and maybe they should stop trying to force this mission. Yui refuses to back down. Since someone came to them for help, she believes they should see it through. Lloyd asks why they cannot just hand the job to another team. Daggaz explains that the mission is ranked A-class, so only top-level parties are allowed to accept it. Since the other strong groups are currently away, Yui's team is the only one available because they are S-rank. Lloyd is shocked hearing that. He wants to help, but his usual lack of confidence makes him think he would be dead weight. Yui decides to settle it with a test. She takes Lloyd outside and tells him to show what he can do. He is nervous and already assuming he will fail. At first, she just tells him to cast something, and Daggaz has to step in and remind her to be specific. So she asks him to place enchantments on everyone. Cross and Silica think that is already a high-level demand, since spreading enhancement magic across an entire party is not easy at all. Lloyd reacts in the exact opposite way. To him, that sounds so basic that he even checks whether that really is the challenge. Once they confirm it, Lloyd agrees. He pulls his staff out from storage magic, which already surprises them. Then, in one quick move, he covers the whole team with 5 different buffs. He does it so fast that nobody even notices the exact moment he casts them. Yui is still trying to understand how he just pulled a staff out of nowhere, while the others slowly start feeling the effects of the magic. Their bodies feel stronger, lighter, and sharper than before. To test it, Yui casually swings at a nearby tree and slices through it, with almost no effort. That is when the group fully realizes something is seriously different about Lloyd. He explains that he stacked 5 enhancements at once because using only one felt too simple for a real demonstration. The team is left speechless. Lloyd, of course, reads the silence the wrong way. Thinking he has disappointed them, he puts his staff away, apologizes for wasting their time, and starts to leave. Yui stops him and asks about his old party. Lloyd casually says he got kicked out for being too weak. That only confuses them more, because someone who can instantly cast 5 layered support spells does not sound weak at all. Cross starts wondering what kind of monsters Lloyd used to work with if they considered that level of ability unimpressive. Lloyd then asks why they do not just ask Clum to come back. Yui explains that Clum's younger sister is seriously ill, and she had been trying to juggle both adventuring and taking care of her at home. It eventually became too much, so Clum stepped away. Dagus adds that while the team can handle easier jobs without a healer, they cannot safely clear an A-rank mission like this without proper support. Everyone still cares about Clum, even if she is no longer with them. That makes Lloyd curious, so he asks what happened to her sister. Yui says the girl's body has slowly been turning into Magistone. The moment Lloyd hears that, he remembers a lesson from Merlin. She once taught him how Magistone can spread its nature into living things. Back then, he had wondered whether the process could be reversed. Now he wants to test that idea for real. He asks Yui to take him to Clum's house. When they get there, Clum answers the door, looking exhausted and worn down. Lloyd gets straight to the point and asks about her sister's condition. Clum explains that she and her sister Sylvia used to go adventuring together, but after Sylvia was injured on one job, her body started breaking down little by little. Rather than explain it further, Clum takes them to see her. The moment the bedroom door opens, a disturbing wave of mana pours out. Then Clum reveals Sylvia's condition. Parts of her body, including her limbs, have already hardened into Magistone. Clum says her mana has gone unstable, and the illness keeps getting worse every day. She believes her sister may not have much time left. Lloyd tells her he has a theory and asks permission to try treating her. Clum resists at first, because even expert healers told her nothing could be done. Lloyd explains what he thinks happened. Sylvia was probably wounded by highly concentrated Magistone in an area filled with dense mana, and that contact triggered the transformation. Clum confirms that Sylvia was hurt during a mission in a cave where Magistone was being extracted. Once Lloyd sees the original wound, he becomes sure that is where the problem began. When Clum asks how he knows all this, he simply says his master taught him. Yui encourages Clum to trust Lloyd, and she finally agrees. Lloyd starts by pulling the corrupted mana out of Sylvia's body. The process is dangerous and difficult even for him, but he forces himself through it. Once enough of that energy is removed, he explains that healing her properly would be impossible unless her mana level was first brought close to 0. After that, he begins the next step. He keeps drawing out the harmful energy while using another spell to restore her body at the same time. Clum immediately notices that this is not normal healing magic. Lloyd explains that it is a stronger version he created himself, one that burns away the mana he absorbs while repairing the damage. Clum is stunned. Yui asks if what he is doing is really that unusual, and Clum confirms that it absolutely is. Running 2 original spells at once under that kind of strain is something even elite healers could not manage. Little by little, Sylvia's body starts returning to normal. The stone-like transformation fades, and eventually she wakes up. Clum breaks down, crying the moment she sees her sister conscious again. Lloyd has done what every specialist before him said was impossible. Later, Clum tells them that once Sylvia recovers fully, the 2 sisters want to go adventuring together again. Until then, she wants Lloyd to take her place beside Yui's team. Lloyd still tries to reject the idea, saying he is not capable enough, but after what everyone just watched him do, that excuse means nothing. Clum tells him to stop thinking about labels and just choose what he really wants. That night, everyone celebrates Sylvia getting better, and Lloyd is thanked again and again. He still feels awkward about being praised, but he also notices something new. These people are kind to him. They respect him. They treat him like he matters. Because of that, he shyly asks if they would still accept him into the party, even if he is not as strong as they think. Instead of laughing, they happily welcome him in. The celebration then becomes his welcome dinner too. The group tells him to eat whatever he wants because they are covering the cost. Lloyd immediately starts devouring the food, and the others laugh at how serious he gets about it. When they ask if he was really that hungry, he says the meals here taste incredible. That confuses them because the food in town is nothing special. Lloyd explains that compared to what he grew up eating, this is amazing. He says Merlin mostly fed him whatever came out of her garden. plus wild mushrooms, or plain roasted beast meat with no seasoning. Because of that, he ended up learning to cook for himself, but even then he never made anything that tasted this good. Yui and the others get curious about Merlin, and the whole conversation shifts toward Lloyd's master. Silica asks whether Merlin is also a white mage, but Lloyd says not at all. She is more like a battle mage, and he remembers seeing explosions whenever she worked alone. That answer impresses Silica even more. The idea that a combat-focused mage trained Lloyd this well in support magic makes Merlin sound ridiculous in the best way. Silica jokes that she would love to study under someone like that. Lloyd instantly shuts that down, warning her that if she actually met Merlin as a teacher, she would regret saying that for the rest of her life. After that, the group moves on to serious business and starts planning the mission. Since Yui is bad at explaining things clearly, Dagas handles the briefing. He tells Lloyd that their job is to wipe out monsters that have been wrecking nearby farms. Silica adds that several different species have grouped together into one pack, which is rare and dangerous. Lloyd has never heard of monsters moving like that before, and the others admit this is new to them too. Cross points out that he and Yui are both melee-focused fighters, so dealing with a huge crowd will be rough for them. Yui agrees, and says Silica will probably have to do the heavy lifting with wide area spells. Silica, though, is uneasy because those kinds of attacks burn through mana quickly. Yui then asks Lloyd if he can use offensive magic. He says he knows some basic attack spells, but nothing impressive. So they settle on their battle plan. Yui and Dagas will gather the monsters in one place. Silica will hit the group all at once, and Cross will stay back to guard both Silica and Lloyd. Lloyd's role will be healing, buffs, and support from the rear. Once everything is decided, the party heads toward the inn to rest before the mission. Lloyd, however, starts walking somewhere else. Dagas stops him and asks where he is going. Embarrassed, Lloyd admits he is too broke to pay for a room. Without making a big deal of it, Dagas hands him a pouch full of money. Lloyd is shocked because it is more cash than he has ever held before. He tries to refuse, but Dagas tells him it is not a favor. The amount will simply come out of Lloyd's future pay. With that, Lloyd has no real way to argue, so he accepts it, thanks him honestly, and promises he will work hard enough to pay it back. Following day, the team gets ready to move out, and Yui shows up last. She is confused when she sees everyone standing around without their bags, but they happily explain that Lloyd stored all their gear with magic, so nobody has to carry anything. Yui immediately joins in and hands over her stuff too. She and Silica are amazed, but Lloyd casually says he could probably teach the trick to them as well. That shocks the group, since they have never seen anyone else use that kind of spell. Lloyd explains that learning the basic version is not that hard, though making the space bigger takes practice. Because they are traveling light, the group reaches camp much earlier than expected. Once they arrive, Lloyd pulls their gear back out so they can set up. Yui wants to relax in the river right away, but Dagas reminds her they still need firewood and food. Lloyd volunteers to gather wood, so Yui grabs Silica and heads off to wash up while he goes into the forest. While collecting sticks, he also finds some fruit he remembers from childhood and picks a few to bring back. Then he hears Yui scream. Lloyd runs toward the sound and finds a giant snake monster attacking Yui and Silica while they are still unarmed. He jumps in without hesitation, distracts the creature, and buys them enough time to get back to shore. Once they are covered, he tosses them their weapons and quickly boosts both of them with support magic. With that extra power, Yui cuts the monster clean in half. Even then, the severed head keeps moving, so Silica blasts it with fire and finishes it off. She is surprised by how strong her spell turned out, not realizing Lloyd's magic is the reason. Right after the fight, Yui thanks him for saving them, but the mood gets awkward fast when her towel slips and Lloyd accidentally sees more than he should. Both of them panic, and Lloyd gets smacked even though he did not do anything wrong. Later, back at camp, Lloyd tries teaching everyone storage magic. His explanation is terrible, so at first the group just looks ridiculous, waving their hands around with no results. Lloyd starts thinking he is a useless teacher. Then Silica suddenly gets it, uses an incantation, and opens a small storage space. That is when everyone realizes the difference. Lloyd casts without chanting, but they still need the words. With practice, Silica manages to store her staff, though the others keep struggling. That night, Lloyd and Yui take watch together. Yui thanks him for joining the party, but Lloyd says she helped him too since he had nowhere else to go. He then asks why she was so desperate to accept this mission. Yui tells him the truth. When she was young, monsters destroyed her village, and she was the only one left alive. Ever since then, she cannot ignore people in danger. Before she can say more, Lloyd suddenly tells her to stay quiet. He senses monsters nearby. Yui wakes the others, and soon the whole team is ready. But once they see how many giant spiders are surrounding the area, they decide fighting head-on would be too risky. They try backing away, but Yui accidentally steps on a twig, and the sound gives them away. The spiders rush them, spraying silk everywhere. At first, the team blocks the attack, but then Silica loses her staff, and the monsters trap everyone inside a web prison. Lloyd takes charge immediately. He buffs the team, tells Yui to break an opening, and she slices through the silk barrier. Cross recovers Silica's staff, while Yui charges the first spider, cuts off its legs, and uses the creature's own web stream to launch herself toward another. Then Lloyd directs Silica and Cross to attack together. Silica creates flames, Cross fires arrows through them, and the burning shots finish the spiders off. When the fight ends, Lloyd apologizes for shouting orders even though he is the newest member, but the others do not mind at all. Daggers tells him he handled the situation like a born leader, and the rest agree. Instead of pushing him away, they want him to keep speaking up in battle. By the following morning, everyone has improved enough with storage magic to carry their own things that way. As the trip continues, Lloyd cannot stop thinking about the spiders and why they were there in the first place. Over the next few days, he keeps taking every night watch by himself. Yui and Silica notice and start worrying because he barely sleeps. They tell him he should rotate with the rest of them, but Lloyd refuses, saying he wants the others rested in case a fight breaks out. That only makes them more concerned. Silica quietly tells Yui that Lloyd probably has old wounds that make it hard for him to trust people, and that may also be why he works himself so hard. Yui wants to ask about his past, but Silica says they should wait until he feels safe enough to open up. Eventually, Daggers steps in. While Cross covers the watch, Daggers takes Lloyd aside and shows him a trap alarm he set around camp, so they will know if monsters get close. Lloyd is impressed, but still says he can do better on his own. That is when Daggers directly asks whether Lloyd actually trusts the team. Lloyd says yes, but Daggers points out that his actions say otherwise. Lloyd admits he is scared of becoming a burden. He has spent so long hearing that he is useless that he believes he has to do everything himself or he will drag others down. Daggers shuts that down immediately. He tells Lloyd that parties exist so people can carry each other when one person cannot handle everything alone. Causing trouble for your teammates sometimes is normal. That is exactly why a team exists in the first place. That idea hits Lloyd hard. For the first time, he starts to understand what it means to rely on others, so he finally agrees to rest. Lying in the tent, he quietly smiles to himself, realizing he now has people he does not have to face everything alone with. The next morning, he decides to try. Nervously, he asks Yui if she can help him fetch water, and she happily says yes. At the same time, far away from the group, a noble named Michelle meets with a suspicious black mage. The mage reports that he has already planted magic stones in every location they discussed. Michelle is pleased. Their earlier moves have already pulled the strongest adventurer teams away from the area, so almost nobody will be around to interfere. The only possible problem left is the hero's party. Even so, Michelle is not too worried. Since the hero only acts under the king's orders, he believes whatever is coming next will move forward before anyone can stop it. As the group moves through the woods, Lloyd starts feeling that something is seriously wrong. The area is far too quiet. There are no monsters anywhere nearby, which does not match what they were expecting this close to the farms. To check farther out, he expands his detection spell and finally finds a large concentration of creatures about 10 kilometers ahead. Cross points out that this puts them dangerously close to the farmland. Before Lloyd can explain more, Yui cuts in, stunned that his search magic reaches that far. When he casually says, 10 kilometers is not even that much, she nearly loses it. But the others shut that down fast, and tell her to focus on the real danger. When they reach the farms, they find an enormous wolf pack already spread across the fields. The size of the group is bad enough, but Lloyd is bothered by something else. This is the only place where he sensed monsters at all. Everywhere else was empty, which makes no sense because monsters normally stay in their own areas, instead of vanishing from the rest of the region. While everyone is trying to figure that out, Cross spots something strange buried in the middle of the pack. Since the others cannot see it clearly, Lloyd boosts his eyesight and notices a dark stone sitting among the wolves. He shares the same vision spell with the party, and they all realize it looks like a black magistone. Silica points out the nasty aura around it, and Lloyd recognizes the energy. It reminds him of the kind of power beast folk used to influence monsters. That is when he realizes the stone may be forcing all these creatures to gather. He scans again and finds another huge group rushing toward them. Now, he is sure the stone is behind the chaos, even if he still does not know who put it there. Some of the team think falling back would be smarter, but Yui refuses because retreating would leave the farms to be destroyed. Dagus agrees that escaping might not even work anymore. Silica doubts they can win, but Lloyd suddenly steps up and says they can if they follow his plan. First, he says they need to destroy the black stone. He asks Cross if he can land a shot on it. Cross is not sure he can break it from that far away, but Lloyd says hitting it is enough. Then he piles several buffs on Cross at once. With the extra power, Cross fires and the stone shatters. The change is instant. The wolves lose the unnatural control holding them together and start attacking one another instead. Lloyd says that was the opening they needed. But the second monster wave is already closing in. Silica stands at the front as the horde rushes toward them, and Lloyd waits until the last second before telling her to let loose. She answers with a massive storm of fire that tears through the incoming monsters in one blast. Everyone is stunned by how destructive it is. Lloyd tells her to keep combining wind and fire, then heads to Cross. By now, the battlefield is full of smoke, which hides the flying monsters from sight. Lloyd solves that by linking Cross to his own senses and feeding him the targets through telepathy and detection magic. With Lloyd guiding every shot, Cross drops each flyer one after another without missing. Lloyd then runs back to Silica, only to hear that she has completely burned through her mana. He immediately starts pouring his own into her. The strain nearly drops him on the spot, but he still tells her to cast rain. She follows his call, and the downpour smothers the spreading flames before the fire can get out of control. That drains her too, and she collapses, but Dagus catches her before she hits the ground. Yui tells her she did enough and says she and Dagus will handle the rest. Together, they finish off the survivors. Once the fight is over, Lloyd suddenly says the farms were probably never the true target. He believes this whole situation was set up to draw powerful adventurers away from Ishtar and leave the city exposed. The others are confused, so Lloyd pulls out a crate of mana potions, downs one, and explains his reasoning. Cross points out that Ishtar still has the heroes' party in the city's knights, so it should not be easy to strike. Even so, Dagus says Lloyd's theory fits too well to ignore. Yui decides they should turn back right away. The moment Lloyd finishes his potion, he boosts everyone's speed and takes off toward the city. The rest are shocked at first, then realize they can move far faster too because of his magic. Elsewhere, a noble named Michel is calmly working in his mansion when the demon general Grist appears and reports that the army is ready. Michel is pleased, and the two talk openly about how they managed to move that force toward Ishtar without being noticed by using the power of a kidnapped beastfolk girl. Michel says they will keep using her ability later as well. He is also satisfied that stronger adventurer teams have already been pulled away from the city. The only possible problem is the hero's party, but he is not too worried because the hero only acts under royal orders. Meanwhile, Lloyd's team keeps racing back toward Ishtar and eventually pauses to recover. Silica worries that holding enhancement magic this long must be exhausting him, but Lloyd says it only feels hard if you are not used to it. He explains that Merlin basically trained him through non-stop abuse, including throwing him into a monster forest, where he survived by inventing better movement spells while running for his life. He talks about it like it was just normal practice, but Yui and Silica are horrified. Lloyd somehow takes their reaction the wrong way and concludes he must still have been below average. After the others catch their breath, they continue forward. Lloyd keeps the speed buff active and repeatedly scans the area. Then he suddenly stops so hard that the others slam into him. When they ask what happened, he says he sensed something nearby that is neither human nor monster. Whatever it is, it gives him a bad feeling. At first, he says they should keep going while he checks it alone, but Yui refuses and says they are coming too. They soon arrive at a small hut, and Lloyd confirms that the presence is actually coming from below it. More than that, he can tell the beings underneath are demons. The party is shocked because demons are not supposed to be in human lands at all. Lloyd says the same, but the others remind him that demons stopped caring about those boundaries a long time ago. When they ask why, he sounds like he never knew that. Lloyd explains that he does not remember much from his early childhood because he was taken in right after the war. That worries them, but he says he is fine. Cross suggests reporting this to the knights at once, but Lloyd says they need more information first. He can feel the same kind of energy from the demons that they felt from the black stone earlier. which makes him think the two things are connected. Rather than wasting time looking for a doorway, Lloyd buffs the team and tells Silica to collapse the ground. She turns the earth in front of them unstable, causing the underground chamber beneath the hut to cave in on the demons while they are in the middle of some ritual. The room erupts into chaos. Yui dives in and grabs one demon, demanding answers, but another uses magic to throw falling debris at her. She blocks it without trouble. Cross shoots one of them, while another slips away. The remaining demons try to hide behind broken rock, but Silica turns the rubble into loose sand and exposes them again. When they try to rush her, Daggers shuts them down. One demon manages to flee deeper into the underground passage. Yui tries to follow, but the way is blocked. At the same time, two demons try to jump her from behind, only for Cross to pin them in place with arrows so she can finish them. After dealing with 3 of them, the group chases the last demon. He reaches another room, traps a beast folk girl inside a cocoon, and escapes with her. Lloyd and the others go after him, with Yui and Cross catching up first and boxing him in from both sides. Lloyd senses intense magic coming from the cocoon and tells them they must secure it no matter what. Once the demon realizes he is cornered, Lloyd orders him to surrender. Instead, he starts casting. Lloyd reacts faster, throwing up shields that send the attack right back into the demon and kill him instantly. The team immediately cuts down the cocoon and rescues the girl inside. Since the demons are dead, Lloyd says she is now their only source of answers, so he begins healing her right away. Yui and Silica are impressed by how fast his healing works, and Lloyd casually says he just adjusted the spell a little. That shocks them again, because changing spell formulas is not simple. Lloyd brushes it off and says Merlin used to make him help create new magic all the time. When they start getting curious about his master again, he just calls her a complete weirdo. After a while, the rescued girl wakes up. Yui instantly starts firing questions at her. Nervous and confused, the girl says her name is Claire. When asked why the demons took her, she hesitates. Lloyd speaks more gently and explains that they are adventurers who saved her. Then he asks whether her beast folk power was used to control the monsters attacking the farms. Claire quietly admits that it was. The demons forced her to do it. That gives the party the answer they needed. The attacks were never random. The demons used Claire's power to send monsters at the farms, drag defenders away, and weaken Ishtar before moving on the city itself. Realizing that, they decide to head back immediately and bring Claire with them. But during a short stop, Lloyd senses a huge monster force already moving toward Ishtar, with an even larger army behind it. At that point, he knows the 5 of them cannot handle everything together, so he makes a hard decision. He tells Yui and the others to run ahead and warn the knights, while he stays back with Claire and uses her ability to interfere with the monster advance. Later, Alan is dealing with a mess of his own back in Ishtar. Ever since Lloyd left, he has failed to find a new white mage because he throws out every applicant the moment he reads their papers. The women in his party nervously point out that even the strongest replacements they found can only stack 2 support spells, but Alan insults them and says that is worthless. Rena quietly suggests that maybe Lloyd was just exceptional, and Alan instantly laughs that off like it is a ridiculous idea. Right then, a knight rushes in with an emergency report. A huge monster force is moving toward the city, and the kingdom needs the hero's party to respond at once. Alan is shocked, but he accepts immediately. Once the knight leaves, the others ask whether they can really face something that big without a support mage. Alan says this is a royal request, so they have no choice. But the truth is, he also wants the glory. More than anything, he wants to prove he is still the strongest, even without the white mage he used to treat like trash. At the same time, Lloyd and Claire reach a cliff and spot another monster wave even larger than the one already headed for Ishtar. Lloyd realizes that if both groups merge, the city will be overwhelmed. He says they need to stop this one here somehow. Claire then asks him something unexpected, whether there is any way to stop the monsters without killing them. Lloyd is surprised, but Claire explains that the creatures are not evil. They were only manipulated because the demons used her power. Since her ability was part of what dragged them into this, she cannot bear the thought of them being slaughtered. Lloyd sees how sincere she is and promises he will try to solve this with as little harm as possible. He asks if she can use her power to send the monsters back instead. Claire admits she is not sure she can influence that many at once. Lloyd tells her he can boost her mana and improve the spell's efficiency, so she agrees to try. But the moment she starts, her magic is blocked. Lloyd quickly realizes there is some dark device interfering from inside the forest. Back in Ishtar, Alan heads to the Adventurers Guild, where fighters and mages are already gathering. Instead of helping morale, he sneers at them and acts like they are too weak to matter. that naturally makes the room tense. Before things explode, the guild master steps in and tells everyone to focus on the monsters, not each other. Alan then announces his brilliant plan. The mages will open the battle with their strongest spells, then he and the frontline fighters will hold the line while the casters recover. He says it like victory is obvious. The room does not share his confidence. Some adventurers point out that they are not powerful enough to erase huge waves of monsters in one blast. Alan calls that pathetic. Then even the mage from his own party admits she cannot promise that kind of output. In fact, she says all of them have felt weaker ever since Lloyd was kicked out. That sends Alan into a rage. He accuses them of betraying him by hiding it, but Rinna finally speaks up. She says nobody betrayed him. He simply got lazy after becoming famous, stopped training, and failed to notice how much Lloyd had been carrying the party the whole time. The room goes dead silent when she says it. Alan, furious and humiliated, tries to hit her, but Rinna blocks him with ease, making him look even worse in front of everyone. He storms out in embarrassment. The others from his party follow him, but Rinna stays behind. With Alan gone, panic spreads because the so-called hero clearly is not fit to lead this defense. Rinna takes charge and says she is done with his party. In her eyes, he no longer deserves the title of hero. She says she will stand with the rest of them instead. Then she tells everyone the truth. The person they really needed was Lloyd. Earlier, when she explained to the guild master that Lloyd had secretly been the real reason Alan's team performed so well, most people struggled to believe her, but the guild master listened. The only problem is that Lloyd is out on a mission and was supposed to be gone for days. Rinna, however, argues that if anyone can break that timetable, it is Lloyd, so they decide to hold the city and bet everything on him making it back in time. Meanwhile, Lloyd and Claire track down the dark source blocking her spell and find another black magistone. Lloyd says this confirms it. These stones are what have been controlling the monsters. Claire points out that one stone should not be enough to guide a horde this huge, so there must be more nearby. She says she can sense them only when she gets close. That is enough for Lloyd. He combines his detection magic with sense sharing to locate the rest much faster, then casts invisibility on the two of them so they can slip close without getting noticed. Claire is starting to realize Lloyd is far more absurd than he acts, but she follows his lead. Once they reach the stone, she uses her own power to neutralize it, and the monsters nearby immediately calm down and start leaving. Back at the city walls, the knights and adventurers prepare for impact. The knight captain is uneasy, but the guild master decides to trust Rinna's faith in Lloyd and hold out as long as possible. When the monsters finally arrive, Rinna gives the order to attack. Arrows and spells hit first, then the trenches and water defenses slow the charge, buying precious time. They are not trying to win outright. They are stalling and praying. Lloyd gets back before the line collapses. While that battle drags on, Yui's team pushes hard toward Ishtar, hoping Lloyd is still alive and still making progress. Lloyd and Claire, meanwhile, reach the last black magistone and disable it too. They are relieved that the monsters are free at last. But the moment the control breaks, the animals go back to acting on instinct and begin fighting among themselves. In the chaos, one of them knocks the stone into Claire, breaking the invisibility spell. The monsters instantly notice her. She freezes, but Lloyd bolts to the opposite side and launches flashy fire shots to pull their attention onto himself. At the city, things are getting worse. One side of the defense starts to collapse under relentless pressure, and even more monsters keep pouring in. Just as hope is about to snap, a huge burst of fire tears through the enemy ranks. Everyone looks up and sees Yui and her S-rank party arriving at the battlefield. Their arrival lifts morale immediately, because if they made it back, then maybe Lloyd is not far behind either. Elsewhere, Lloyd is still running circles around the monsters he lured away. He keeps dodging, weaving, and staying just ahead of them, but he knows he cannot do that forever. Claire sees that he is exhausting himself, and also notices he still is not striking back. She realizes he is honoring the promise he made to her, so she decides to help. She starts to sing. The effect is immediate. The monsters slow down, calm down, and begin turning away. Lloyd stares in shock. Claire explains that her gift does not really dominate monsters. It carries her feelings to them. She asks them to go home, and they listened. Lloyd thanks her and says they need to hurry back to Ishtar. By the time they arrive, Yui's group has helped the defenders push on. But even with that support, the humans are still being driven back. Rinna is injured, the line is breaking, and it looks like the city is finished. Then Claire's voice suddenly spreads across the battlefield, amplified by Lloyd's support magic. Her song washes over the monsters, and one by one they stop fighting. Instead of continuing the assault, they turn away and begin returning to the forest without attacking anyone. The defenders can hardly believe what they are seeing. Lloyd tells Claire that her magic just saved countless lives, but the danger is not over yet. A unit of giant stone golems is still advancing toward the city, and Lloyd immediately decides he has to stop them too. Far away, Michelle is calmly drinking wine, convinced Ishtar has probably already fallen. Then a servant rushes in with urgent news. Michelle expects victory. Instead, he hears that the monster army did not destroy the city at all. It broke apart and retreated. For the first time, Michelle is completely thrown. He demands to know how that happened, but the servant has no answer. Later, Claire tries calming the golems too, but her power does nothing on them. Lloyd quickly figures out the demons are still interfering, so instead of forcing it, he decides to regroup with everyone and come up with another answer. He buffs both himself and Claire, and the two rush straight through the golem line at top speed. The giants notice and swing at them, but they dodge through the chaos and race toward the defensive trenches. Right before they reach the line, Lloyd grabs Claire and leaps clean over the trench in one massive jump. The soldiers watching are stunned, and many of them realize this must be the white mage Rina had been putting all her faith in. The moment he lands, his party runs over. Lloyd explains that the monster retreat is only happening because of Claire's song, but the stone golems are still advancing. Then his body gives out for a second and he drops to one knee. His friends panic, thinking he is about to collapse from non-stop spellcasting, but Lloyd stubbornly says he can rest after the battle. Around then, the guild master arrives, surprised to see Claire with him. Lloyd asks him to get her somewhere safe, so the guild master has the knights escort her away. After that, he bluntly tells Lloyd that the city's only real hope now is him, which Lloyd clearly does not understand at all. Then Rina steps in and reveals that Alan is gone. Lloyd is shocked, and she explains that Alan caused the scene at the guild and abandoned the battlefield entirely. Lloyd can barely believe someone called a hero would walk away while the city was under attack. Rina has no patience left for Alan and says he does not deserve that title anymore. Right after that, the pain from her injuries hits her, but Lloyd heals her immediately without hesitation. The guildmaster is amazed by how easily he fixes her up, but the spell drains Lloyd hard and nearly knocks him over again. Rina catches him and finally says what she should have said long ago. When he was still in Alan's party, all of them thought they were unstoppable. But after losing him, they realized they were only average, and he had been the reason they looked extraordinary. She regrets not stopping the others when they threw him away. Lloyd, of course, still cannot accept that he matters that much. He does not get time to argue because the golems hit the front line. Some knights rush in too early, and Lloyd warns them that these things are not normal. He is right. The moment their blades strike, the weapons snap. The golems are magically reinforced, and normal attacks barely scratch them. One of the giants sends soldiers flying. Panic spreads, and Rina immediately takes command again. She orders mages and archers to hit them from range, but even that does almost nothing. As the golems start crossing the trench and forcing the defenders back, Lloyd pushes past his limit and casts wide support magic over the battlefield, tailoring the buffs to the people who need them. The cost hits him hard, and he knows the spell will not hold long, so he tells everyone to end this fast. Yui climbs up high and shouts to the defenders that Lloyd's magic has boosted all of them, but most of them do not buy it until Rina proves it herself by charging a golem head-on. Yui follows that up by smashing one apart, and suddenly everyone feels the difference in their own bodies. Fear starts turning into confidence. While Lloyd fades fast, the others take over. Cross organizes the archers, Silica tears through multiple golems with heavy spells, and Daggers helps hold the line while the city's defenders push back. Eventually, only one golem is left. Yui goes for it, but another adventurer jumps in first and attacks carelessly. His sword shatters, and that tells everyone Lloyd's buffs are nearly gone. Panic returns right away. The last golem keeps pushing toward the gates while people begin falling back. Yui still refuses to move, but when the monster swings at her, Rina knocks her out of the way and Daggers blocks the hit with everything he has. Lloyd sees they cannot win without one final push, so he uses the very last of his strength to enchant Yui's sword. She instantly understands. With Rina and Daggers holding the golem in place, Yui steps in and cuts the giant down in one finishing strike. The whole city erupts in relief. A battle that looked unwinnable ends with the defenders still standing. Only then does Lloyd finally stop forcing himself to stay upright, and he passes out on the spot. Elsewhere, Demon General Rizz storms into Michelle's castle, furious over the disaster. The plan failed, Ishtar survived, and Claire is gone. When he finds Michelle missing, He trashes the office in rage and swears he will kill him the next time they meet. Back in Ishtar, Lloyd wakes up after sleeping for a full day. Yui comes to see him, and his first reaction is to complain that he blacked out because he is weak. At this point, Yui cannot even be bothered arguing. She drags him to the door, opens it, and the entire crowd outside starts cheering for him. Lloyd panics, slams the door shut, and hides because he cannot handle that much attention. Yui gets fed up and tells him to face the people properly. He technically listens, just not the normal way, and climbs out through the window instead. At the same time, Merlin's spy will returns with news. Merlin almost blows him up at the entrance because she mistakes him for an intruder, but once he comes inside, he tells her Lloyd was thrown out of the hero's party. She is stunned at first, though Will says it turned out better than expected because Lloyd's new team actually treats him well. Still, he also tells her that Lloyd's self-worth is a wreck and his standards for himself are absurd. Merlin knows she is partly responsible for that, even if she only wanted to keep him from becoming like the person she once lost. Back in town, Lloyd keeps hiding from the citizens because he cannot understand why they are making such a big deal over him. His party tracks him down and explains that the whole city is just trying to thank him for saving them. Lloyd insists he does not deserve the praise, but the others tell him he seriously needs to start seeing his own value. He finally goes out to greet everyone, though he still tries to hand the credit to the knights and adventurers. The people refuse. To them, Lloyd is the hero of Ishtar. He is overwhelmed, but he decides he has to start getting used to that. Alan, meanwhile, is furious that Lloyd is now the one being praised. His remaining teammates remind him that he may lose his title for abandoning an emergency call. Alan already knows that, so instead of facing the fallout, he decides to leave town with the girls still following him. At Merlin's home, the mood turns heavy. She and her old companions are remembering the day Sybil died after defeating the Demon King and saving innocent lives. During that gathering, Will reveals something far worse. The demons have started moving again, and they already use beast folk power to direct monsters at Ishtar. He suspects they may be trying to bring the Demon King back. Merlin is shaken by that possibility because it would destroy the meaning of Sybil's sacrifice. The others tell her to stay calm and focus on stopping whatever is coming next. A few days later, Lloyd and his team are summoned by the city lord. When they arrive, they find Claire already there. The young man greets them, and everyone assumes he is just some attendant until he introduces himself as Lord Abel. That shocks them, because he looks far too young to have ruled the region as long as he has. Abel brushes that aside and gets to the real issue. He reveals that Claire is actually the second princess of the Forest Empire. The whole party is stunned, and Claire confirms it. Abel explains that her monster-related power is too dangerous to be left unprotected, which is why her people have been searching for her. Now that she has been rescued, she needs to be escorted safely to the royal capital, where beastfolk envoys will receive her. Since revealing her identity would be risky, Abel asks Lloyd's party to guard her in secret. They all agree. 10 days into the trip, they are still far from the capital because they purposely chose a longer, safer route. Cross complains non-stop, while Daggers reminds him that safety is the reason for the delay. Yui does not care at all. She is far more excited about the hot spring town ahead and asks Claire whether she has ever been to one. Cross finds Yui's carefree attitude annoying, but Silica points out that her energy keeps the trip from turning miserable and also lets Claire enjoy normal experiences for once. Cross almost gives Yui credit for being thoughtful, only to realize she mostly just wants to have fun. That evening, they reach the hot spring town. The girls enjoy the baths together while the guys relax on their side. During the downtime, Lloyd starts thinking again about the demon threat. The closer they get to the capital, the more likely it becomes that demons will act. He doubts they can move a full army without being noticed, so elite kidnappers seem more likely. While lost in thought, he ends up scrubbing Cross way too hard, and Cross yells at him to stop spacing out. Later, Lloyd suggests they stay in town for a while instead of moving immediately. He wants time to prepare in case demons attack without warning. Silica likes the idea because she can work on new spells. Daggis wants time to improve his gear, and Cross says he can use the break to maintain his bow. So Yui decides they will remain there for a couple of weeks. Lloyd quietly accepts that as another chance to get stronger for the sake of the people now depending on him. The following day, Daggis spends hours moving from one weapon store to another, hoping to find a shield worth buying. Nothing feels right, and the more he looks, the more frustrated he gets. While wandering around, he runs into Yui and Claire, who are out relaxing. After hearing what he needs, Claire mentions a small shop she noticed tucked away in a side street. She says it looked unusual in a good way, so Daggis decides to try his luck there. The store turns out to be far better than expected. The gear on display is clearly top class, but strangely, there are no customers. Then the owner appears and greets Dagus with pure hostility, acting like he expects trouble. Once Dagus explains he is only interested in shields, the old man calms down a little and lets him browse. Dagus is still wondering why a place with such high-grade equipment is so empty when a noisy group of adventurers barges in and makes the answer obvious. Their leader, Karen, laughs at Dagus for even stepping into that shop and mocks him like he is some clueless nobody. It quickly becomes clear that Karen and his people have been driving business away. Dagus asks why an A-rank adventurer would waste time bullying a shopkeeper, and Karen admits he is angry because the old man refused to sell him a certain special item. The owner says he had good reason Karen is not fit to use it. Karen takes that badly and tries to turn the situation into a fight. One of his men attacks first, but Dagus drops him instantly. After that, he forces the whole group out with ease and slams the door in their faces. When Karen is still acting tough, Dagus flashes his S-rank tag, and the mood changes right away. Even the shopkeeper asks why he did not just lead with that. Dagus says, rank means nothing if you cannot back it up. That answer wins the old man over. Impressed by both his strength and attitude, he decides Dagus may be the right person to inherit a rare shield he has been guarding. Elsewhere, Lloyd is back at the inn, buried in thought, and trying to upgrade his support magic. When Yui and Claire return, they ask what he is working on. Lloyd admits he wants his spells to become stronger, but he is also wondering whether he should branch out. Yui suggests offensive magic, but Lloyd dismisses that idea immediately. In his mind, white mages are terrible at direct attacks. Compared to Silica's firepower, he thinks anything he casts would look embarrassing. While he says that, Silica is off training by herself. She keeps replaying their last mission in her head, and knows things could have gone badly without Lloyd. That pushes her to improve. She starts experimenting with a stronger flame spell and keeps failing, but refuses to stop. Back at the inn, Yui tells Lloyd that Silica was always called a genius because of her huge mana pool. But that is not what truly makes her special. What sets her apart is that she never quits, no matter how many times she messes up. That stubborn side of Silica pays off. After repeated failures, she finally gets her new spell to work. She gets excited too soon, loses control, and blows the whole thing up anyway. The blast sends her into a pond, leaving her wet and annoyed with herself. Right then, Dagus finds her and explains what happened at the shield shop. The old smith promised him a legendary shield, but only if he dealt with the mysterious explosions in the forest that had been terrifying locals. That is why Dagus came looking around. Silica gets offended when he hints she might be the cause, but then turns around and realizes her blast has completely dried up the lake. At that point, even she cannot deny it. Dagus brings her to the shop to explain everything. Silica apologizes over and over, though she also points out she restored the lake afterward. The old man just laughs and says that is good enough for him. Since no real harm was done, he hands Dagus the promised shield. Dagus feels like he did not truly earn it. But the smith says trust matters too. Later, Dagus proudly shows the shield to the group, and Silica shares that she has also succeeded in creating a new spell. Everyone is excited by their progress. Lloyd starts feeling left behind, and even Cross gets that pressure in the back of his mind. Yui tells all of them to stop comparing themselves and improve at their own speed. Cross takes that badly the next day and decides he also needs a breakthrough. He has already maintained his bow and kept training, but nothing feels different. While thinking about it, he bumps into a young archer named Lin on the way to the guild. After helping him up, Cross learns the kid is an adventurer too. Lin immediately begs him to join his party for one mission, and Cross ends up agreeing because he cannot really say no. On the way, Cross wonders why Lin has no regular party, especially since archers struggle alone. Once they reach the guild, the answer becomes obvious. A few adventurers start making fun of Lin right away and call him a useless E-rank who only drags others down. Lin apologizes to Cross for involving him, but Cross tells him it is fine. He knows what it feels like to be underestimated, and that makes Lin feel a lot better. At the same time, Yui is busy trying to decide whether to keep eating through the town's best restaurants or start worrying about her figure. While she is stuck on that problem, she notices a scene nearby. A noblewoman is screaming at a child who accidentally splashed mud on her dress and is actually ordering her guards to kill him. The townspeople stay silent because the woman's family is influential, but Yui jumps in without hesitation. The noble demands to know who Yui thinks she is talking to, and Yui basically answers that she is looking at a grown woman throwing a tantrum over nothing. That only makes the noble more furious, and she sends her guards after Yui. Yui tells the child to run, draws her sword from storage, and handles the guards easily. The crowd is shocked, but the noble has one more trick. She has a hidden mage in the crowd, and that mage suddenly traps Yui with a binding spell that drains both her energy and mana. For the first time, Yui is actually in danger. The noble tells her guards to finish her off. Before they can, a hooded woman appears and asks if they really need to be this pathetic. When the noble snaps at her, the stranger moves so fast, nobody can even follow it. In moments, the guards are down, the hidden mage is beaten, and even the noble collapses in fear. Afterward, Yui thanks her and asks how she became that strong. The woman says Yui is already impressive, but Yui admits she wants to become much stronger because she wants to catch up to Lloyd. The stranger reacts to Lloyd's name, then reveals she knows Merlin. She agrees to help Yui train for a bit and introduces herself as Lilith. They go into the forest, where Lilith pulls out a massive sword with storage magic, instantly making Yui realize Lloyd is not the only one who can do things like that. Then Lilith demonstrates a ranged slash made of pure mana and cuts a tree from a distance. Yui is stunned and immediately wants to learn it. Meanwhile, Lloyd is still overworking his brain, trying to invent something new, and Claire offers to drag him away for a break. They go out for sweets, and while they are relaxing, Lloyd asks whether the magic Claire uses to communicate with monsters is ancient magic. At the same time, Cross takes Lin into the forest and starts helping him with archery properly. Once Lin gets clear guidance, he improves much faster than expected. Back at the cafe, Claire confirms that her power is tied to ancient magic. Lloyd asks whether he could learn that kind of spell too, since it seems so effective. Claire shuts that down immediately. She explains that people capable of using ancient magic are incredibly rare, and if someone without the proper gift tries it, the result can be fatal. She even tells him about a powerful mage who died instantly after forcing an ancient spell. That is enough for Lloyd. He drops the idea and decides he needs to find another path. In the forest, Cross and Lin finish off the slimes they came to hunt, but then a giant spider shows up and starts feeding on the remains. Cross attacks, but his arrows alone are not enough. He realizes he needs either magic support or much faster shooting. Then Lin offers a smart suggestion. Instead of pulling arrows normally, Cross should summon them straight from storage. Cross tries it, and the difference is huge. His firing speed shoots up, and he overwhelms the spider with a rapid barrage. When they return to the guild, Cross lets Lin take full credit, so the others will finally start seeing him as capable. Then Lin notices Cross is actually S rank, and completely loses his mind. Not far away, Yui keeps trying to copy Lilith's flying slash, but it is far harder than it looked. Lilith seems confused because it came naturally to her. Yui starts wondering what kind of monster this woman really is, but keeps going anyway. Then Lilith asks why Yui is so desperate to get stronger. Yui admits that reaching S rank made her arrogant, but meeting Lloyd changed that. Now she wants enough strength to stand beside him properly. Lilith respects that answer. At that moment, a monster jumps at Lilith from behind. Yui reacts without thinking and fires off a flying slash that kills it. Lilith smiles and tells her she finally got it. Yui realizes she only succeeded because she stopped overthinking. Then the exhaustion crashes into her, and she passes out on the spot. Lilith quietly leaves her outside the inn before disappearing. The next morning, Yui is full of energy and ready to move on. Lloyd, on the other hand, is frustrated with himself because he thinks he achieved nothing during the break, even though he actually improved several spells and created new ones. Far away, Grist is reporting his previous failure to his master, who is disgusted by how badly he handled the invasion. Grist swears he will not fail again, and his next order is simple: find Claire. After leaving, Grist throws a tantrum because he has no clue where to start. Then Michelle shows up. Grist wants to rip him apart, but Michelle calmly says he is still owed payment for the earlier plan. Before Grist can react, Michelle shares new information. Claire is heading toward the human capital, guarded by several S-rank adventurers. When Grist asks why he is helping, Michelle says he wants to repair his standing after the failed operation and is willing to work with the demons again to seize Claire next time. While traveling, Lloyd's group hears rustling nearby and instantly gets ready to fight, but it is only a rabbit. Even so, Lloyd checks the surroundings with detection magic and confirms there are no demons close by. When they stop to rest, he admits he feels underprepared compared to everyone else. Yui tells him he needs to trust himself more, and Claire agrees, saying he is clearly the strongest in the party. The others back that up too, reminding him they trained because they wanted to catch up to him. Yui points out that if he keeps rating himself too low, he will never judge his own growth properly. Lloyd finally says he will try to stop putting himself down so much. Elsewhere, Merlin visits Ryuan, an old friend living behind layers of illusion inside a hidden castle. After slipping past the guards and fake walls, Merlin asks about the demon realm. Ryuan says the current ruler comes from the old Demon King's line, though this generation likely is not as overwhelming as the last. Merlin then brings out half of an ancient spellbook and asks whether it could be used to seal the Demon King if he returns. That worries Ryuan immediately. After examining it, she says the book still carries traces of Sybil's magic. Merlin grows emotional and reveals that Lloyd once touched this same book and proved compatible with ancient magic, making him another chosen one. She admits she trained him brutally to make him strong, but failed to understand him as a person, and now he is out in the world escorting Claire while she misses him badly. Back on the road, Lloyd tries one last wide scan before dark, but his spell gets disrupted. A heavy magical fog suddenly spreads through the area, and Silica cannot even summon her staff inside it. Lloyd quickly realizes the mist was made by demons to interfere with magic. The group runs for the nearby village, but the whole place is buried in fog too. Lloyd boosts Silica's power so she can finally call her staff. Then she clears the mist with wind magic. As soon as it lifts, they find demons waiting for them. Claire immediately recognizes Grist, the one who kidnapped her before. The fight begins at once. Yui fires ranged sword slashes, Silica attacks with fire, and Cross takes a high spot to shoot down the enemy casters. But Grist ignores all of it and walks straight toward Claire. Cross's arrows bounce off him, and even Yui's attacks cannot touch him. Dagus blocks one of his blows with his shield, and Lloyd figures out the reason. Grist is surrounded by invisible magic armor. When Grist decides Lloyd is the real threat and moves in to take him out, the situation starts collapsing. Then, a massive wave of ice crashes through the street and freezes Grist's underlings while sparing Lloyd's team. The one who cast it is Celian, Claire's childhood friend, known as the Ice Crystal Hero. Will appears too and goes after Michelle, who is responsible for the fog. Celian makes it clear he does not think much of adventurers, but Claire runs to him immediately. Yui had heard he was rude, and seeing him in person proves the rumors were true. Still, he listens the second Claire scolds him. Their reunion lasts only a moment because Grist breaks free, and Celian insists on fighting him alone. Celian goes all out with ice attacks, but Grist keeps resisting. During the battle, Lloyd notices that the freezing air is affecting Grist even when direct attacks do not land. He warns Celian to be careful, but Celian ignores him. That backfires badly. Grist has been charging magic into his fist the whole time, and when he finally releases it, the clash causes a huge explosion. Afterward, Lloyd checks for his teammates and confirms they are safe, but Claire is gone. Then he sees Grist carrying her unconscious body toward a huge flying ship that has just arrived. Grist escapes with her before anyone can stop him. Celian tries chasing after the ship with an ice pillar, but loses strength and falls. Lloyd has Silica soften his landing, then heals him before Celian even realizes it. The others gather around Lloyd and ask what they do next. He says he already has a plan. Celian hates taking orders from an adventurer, but the rest of the group force him to admit Lloyd is the one thinking clearly. In the end, Celian agrees to work with them to rescue Claire. On the ship, Grist praises the airship for making the mission possible. Michelle explains that it was not ready during the Ishtar attack, but now it works because he found a proper energy source, a surviving fragment of the former Demon King's body still filled with mana. He built a device to drain that power and use it as fuel. Grist is disgusted that Michelle is using the old Demon King like a battery, but Michelle only laughs it off as scientific curiosity. Before they can talk more, alarms go off. Michelle checks the controls and sees Celian building ice footholds in the air while Lloyd's team follows with anti-gravity support magic. Once they reach the ship, everyone draws their weapons and attacks. Lloyd immediately buffs the whole group. Celian charges first, but Grist's armor still blocks his hits. Lloyd quietly adds another spell to Grist without making it obvious, then signals everyone else to pile on. Silica fills the area with corrosive mist. Yui and the others attack from all sides, and Grist keeps defending with his armor while mocking them. Then Grist prepares his strongest punch again, but in the middle of it, his arm suddenly freezes and breaks apart. He cannot understand what happened. Celian says it is frostbite from the freezing air, but Lloyd explains the full trick. Earlier, Lloyd secretly cast pain nullifying magic on Grist, so he could not feel the cold destroying his body. His armor could stop attacks, he noticed, but not the freezing damage he never sensed. Lloyd figured that out when he saw Grist's hair icing over in the earlier fight, so they kept him distracted until the cold finished the job. As the numbness starts wearing off and the pain finally hits, Grist retreats deeper into the ship. In desperation, he smashes open the cages holding Michelle's experimental monsters so they can fight for him. Lloyd's group rushes after him and finds Claire locked in a cage. Cellian demands her release, but Grist has already caused chaos by freeing the creatures. Michelle panics for a second when a giant snake wraps around Grist, then suddenly changes his mind. Instead of stopping the mess, he activates a device hidden in the floor and releases a strange magical sound. The monsters immediately fall under his control. Cellian breaks Claire out first and pulls her away from the cage, but they barely get a step before Michelle's controlled monsters surround the whole group. Everyone reaches for their weapons, ready to fight, until Claire jumps in and begs them not to hurt the creatures. Then she starts singing with ancient magic, and the monsters snap out of Michelle's control. But that spell does more than free them. The ship begins shaking, the magic system starts failing, and even Grist loses his footing when he grabs the power core and gets blasted by it. Michelle quickly figures out what happened. Claire's ancient spell reacted with the Demon King fragment powering the ship and pushed it into overload. If it keeps going, the whole thing will blow. He yanks the fragment out and cools it down, but the moment he does that, the airship starts dropping. Lloyd reacts immediately and uses gravity magic to keep it from plunging too fast. Then Grist starts acting strangely and demands the fragment. Michelle realizes the Demon King's will is trying to use Grist as a body. Instead of stopping it, he gets excited and tosses the fragment over. Dark mana erupts. Nearby monsters are sucked into it, and when it settles, Grist comes out transformed into a monstrous chimera. Everyone is horrified. Michelle, on the other hand, is fascinated right up until the chimera turns on him and kills him instantly. After that, the creature focuses on Lloyd's group. Dagus blocks its first hit with Lloyd's support magic, but even he knows he cannot keep that up for long. The team tries to escape the falling ship, only for the chimera to cut them off. Cellian wants to kill it, but Claire stops him again because innocent creatures are still trapped inside that body. While the others fire at it from a distance, the chimera answers with a storm of wind and fire that shuts them down completely. At that same time, Merlin will teleport nearby after getting urgent news. Once Lloyd's group is cornered, he suddenly comes up with an escape plan. He tells everyone to cling to the inside walls and store their weapons, then drops the gravity spell holding the ship steady. The airship tilts hard, the chimera slides away, and the party uses that opening to rush outside. Lloyd is the last to leave, blocking a blast with a barrier before joining them. Outside, he tells Cellian to make an ice platform for everyone, but the chimera breaks it almost immediately, so Lloyd gives another risky order, jump. With no better choice, they follow him. In midair, Cellian creates another ice foothold, and the group lands on it together. Lloyd tells Silica to wait until the perfect moment, then amplify her wind magic only when they are low enough. She times it right, slows their fall, and gives everyone just enough space to jump safely to the ground. Once they land, the others thank Silica, but she says Lloyd is the one who made it work. Even Cellian starts rethinking the way he sees teamwork after watching Lloyd guide everyone through that disaster. Then the ship crashes behind them and explodes. Claire breaks down over the monsters that were still trapped inside, but the nightmare is not over. The chimera survives, crawls out, and grows even bigger. Lloyd leads everyone into the forest to regroup. Merlin will arrive nearby and hide long enough to hear the group talk through the situation. Lloyd believes Claire's ancient song awakened the Demon King fragment, which took over Grist and fused with the monsters. He also thinks part of Grist is still in there, which is why the chimera keeps chasing Claire. Dagus suggests hiding her with concealment magic, but Lloyd says that will not solve the real problem. Cellian says they should just kill the thing, but Claire still refuses because she wants to save the creatures inside it. That is when Lloyd comes up with a new plan. He wants Claire to sing again while he boosts her power, hoping the monsters inside the chimera will hear her and break free. Claire is relieved there might still be a way to save them, and agrees right away. But before they can start, Merlin steps out and stops them. Lloyd is stunned to see her. Merlin warns him to stay away from ancient magic, saying he has no idea what it costs. Lloyd pushes back for the first time, and says Claire can still use it safely if he supports her. Merlin is caught off guard by how much he has changed. Lloyd tells her that leaving home and meeting his friends made him realize something important. If he stays scared of his own strength forever, he will never grow. He says this is not blind confidence anymore. he finally understands his limits and what he has to do. Before Merlin can answer, the Chimera attacks. Lloyd instantly throws support magic onto Celian, who rains down spears of ice to distract it. While the monster is occupied, Lloyd climbs onto its body and uses his staff to carry Claire's song straight into it. As he boosts and channels her magic, he feels something strange, but keeps going. The song starts working. The Chimera begins breaking apart, and the trapped monsters start falling free. But above them, a black void suddenly opens. Merlin sees it and realizes exactly what it means, but Lloyd has no time to react. He is focused only on finishing the rescue. Just as the last of the monster body collapses, the black void pulls in what remains of Grist and Lloyd with him. Everyone outside hears a voice as Lloyd is dragged into that dark space. Merlin recognizes it immediately. It is Sybil. Inside that void, Lloyd sees his own body breaking apart and hears Sybil explain the truth. Ancient magic came from people long ago who surpassed normal human limits and learned how to bend reality itself. But their power brought disaster, so they sealed it away. Only rare inheritors were meant to ever use it, and the world itself was altered so anyone else trying to wield that power would be destroyed. Lloyd then learns that Sybil himself broke that rule. When the Demon King blew himself up and killed a whole city along with Sybil's party, Sybil used forbidden ancient magic to bring everyone back, sacrificing his own life. Now Lloyd is suffering the same backlash after touching that power by accident. Sybil tells him there is still one way back: follow his heart. Lloyd reaches inward, thinks of his friends, and hears them calling for him from outside. Their voices guide him back. As dawn breaks, Lloyd falls out of the black void and lands before them. His party rushes to him at once. Merlin watches from a distance with tears in her eyes, silently thanking Sybil. After that, the group safely escorts Claire to the capital. Everyone is still shocked that Lloyd's teacher is actually the famous sage Merlin, though Lloyd honestly says she never felt saintly to him. Claire meets them again there, and Celian awkwardly apologizes for losing a handmade gift she once gave him during the battle. She smiles and says she can always make another, which leaves him embarrassed and red-faced. Later, the king personally thanks Lloyd's team for protecting Claire and rewards them generously. Not long after, Riwen shows up and immediately starts sniffing Lloyd because his magic smells similar to Merlin. Lloyd thinks she is being weird, and everyone else just stares in confusion, until Merlin casually explains that Riwen identifies people by the scent of their magic. Once that weird moment passes, Lloyd's party starts fangirling over Merlin for being a legendary mage, while Lloyd still does not fully get why everyone acts like she is some untouchable icon. Then Merlin asks him a simple question: does he want to come home? Lloyd says no. He wants to keep traveling, learn more kinds of magic, invent new spells, and become someone even more useful to the people beside him. Merlin is genuinely happy hearing that. She leaves with Will, knowing the danger of the Demon King's return is still hanging over the world, and that Lloyd will matter when that day comes. Meanwhile, Lloyd and his friends arrive at the mansion the king gave them, and look ahead to the next stage of their journey together. And that's where this video ends. Watch this following video until a new one.